Yes.
Without going to the tailor.
You can begin anytime you want.
We can start? Okay, Krishnamurti, the question I came up with is this. What do you think, or what is the power or the intensity that goes along with the immediacy, that illusions have such immediacy? In other words, why is it that illusion and what thought creates has such power and such immediacy? That's question one. And then somewhere along the line, what can a person do if, let's say, if I or if you see the illusion of the immediacy in my illusions, and you see the quality of my illusions, what can a person do for another person who is caught up in their illusions? Those are two questions.
So first of all, what do you mean by illusion?
Well, when I use the word illusion, I'm going from discussions we've had before, where we talk about the fact that thought creates a reality. Thought
creates illusion.
Creates illusion. Well, and so therefore it is illusion, since it's making it up. So. And it has such immediacy. I mean, we all invest our thoughts with such intense needs. We've invested in security. I mean, what is that? This immediacy in illusion or thought?
When you use the word immediacy, does it mean the urge to fulfill, the urge to do something?
Yeah.
I don't quite understand when you use the word immediacy, what you mean by that.
Well, when I'm using the word immediacy in the sense of a reality, if I really feel that let's say this, that if I imagine, take it at two levels, if I imagine myself falling off a wall, I'll jump. So that thought and that imagination has immediacy, a intensity. If I have the thought that I must...
Could we express it differently?
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not getting the meaning of what you're talking about.
Well, I'm really saying that we have thoughts that we invest with importance.
Yes, let's stick to that.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, what makes us invest it with such importance? In other words, how come we can't see? I mean, I'm really referring back to my work as a doctor, where a patient comes in and will say, terribly depressed if somebody died, terribly depressed if their lover doesn't show up, terribly depressed if they lose a job. Those are thoughts which have importance, but they have, for this person, it's as if it's the whole life has collapsed. That's what I mean by immediacy. Urgency.
After all, it's the urge of desire to fulfill.
I'm not getting you there.
Because I'm not getting your meaning at all.
Well, let me try another way. We talk a lot about what thought does.
Yes. We said that thought is limited. Thought, whatever it does, whether in the technological world or in the psychological world, is limited.
Exactly.
I mean, a person who is concerned about himself all day long, his whole attitude towards life and towards the world is very, very, very small.
Right. Now, how come if thought is limited, but actually thought begins to seem like it's unlimited?
That's just an idea, that's an illusion.
Well, but that actually happens.
So what is your question then?
So what makes that happen? In other words, what makes thought appear so unlimited? and we invest it with such unlimited virtues.
Who does this?
Everyone in this world that I know. I mean, people think of their, like yesterday in our discussion, the man says he's getting better because he can take a vacation, right? So in a way, he has invested his thought. You see what I'm getting at?
No.
You still don't see. Well, let's try. This is what we try. People do invest their...
Would you mind changing the words? Not invest. Move away from this.
All right, we'll move away. We'll try another way. We think what we think is important. That, keep it at that.
What we think is important, which is our prejudice.
Our ideas.
Our ideas, our ideologies.
Exactly.
Our experience. We think that's important.
Exactly. Now you're getting it.
Yeah, now we're getting it.
Now what is that?
Now, not what is that. Why have they become important?
But they start out important.
No. I have an experience, suppose, or I come to some definite conclusion.
Okay. All right.
I've thought a great deal about it, read about it, talked to people, and I've come to a conclusion that's final.
Right. Right.
In that finality, there is a certain sense of, at last, I've understood, this is what I must do,
Right.
or not do, and proceed from there.
Right.
Now, what is the question? Put it from there.
From there, the question is, how did it get to be that you think
It's important.
that it's important and that it's final?
Because it has happened to me, and I have seen all the implications of it, all the implications of an accident, or I've reasoned it out, and I said, this is so.
Yeah.
But the difficulty is you come along and say it's not so.
Yeah.
Then I hold on to what I've come, my conclusion. Hold on to my conclusion.
Because I say it's not. You mean it's simply in reaction?
You say it's not.
Yeah.
Your conclusion is wrong. Unless I'm willing to listen to you, examine it, then I'll change it. But if I'm not willing to listen to you, examine it, I won't change. I say that's what I think.
Yeah, but before you already thought it was important, what you thought.
Yes, sir, because it's happened to me.
So it's me that's the issue.
Yeah,
Because it happened to me.
To me.
So that you've invested me with importance.
Yes, me becomes the important.
Why? That's...
Your question now is quite different. Why human beings all over the world have given importance to the idea of the me.
Yeah, yeah. Such importance.
Huh?
Such importance.
Tremendous importance.
Yes.
The whole world circles around.
Right.
From
now, so what does it? You know,
what does it?
I mean, in other words, why? Why does?
Why do human beings give importance to their own self-centered
right
activity? Right.
That's right.
Why? Is it because they think they are individuals, separate from everybody else, and therefore because they are individuals, it's like building a wall around oneself. right? And not let any other thing interfere with that center. And that naturally then it becomes important.
When it naturally, why naturally?
Because that's the only thing I have.
So having made this wall, then I'm taking in things that are building me up, so to speak.
And therefore that's the only thing I have left it with me.
So because I've made this...
Not only because of that,
right.
but because I've, through education, through religion and so on, my brain has been programmed to think I am an individual.
Right.
And being an individual, I must protect myself against you, against the environment, and so on.
Right, right.
So, in the act of protecting myself, it becomes very important. The act becomes very important.
Right, right. And that makes, so what you're saying too is that therefore all of these illusions that I build up
spring from
that. In other words, it's necessary, like getting more evidence. So it's really, why does this happen, this me?
I wouldn't put it why. Why put it around the other way?
Yeah, it's not.
Why has humanity, human beings all over the world, have become so terribly self-centered? Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Would that be right question?
Yes, that's good.
Why, sir? From your training, from your analytical point of view,
Mm-hmm.
as a doctor and psychotherapist and so on, why do you think they have given importance to this self-centered, egotistic movement,
Mm-hmm.
which is actually a separative movement,
Separate, right.
which is divisive movement?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Well, I think that the reason is that thought itself offers, thought simply appears in the brain. And that thought offers the security of the self, or the me. In other words, it creates the me.
Yes, sir. Wait a minute. What I'm asking, after having created the me, which is the image I have about myself,
Right.
why have we given such importance to this?
That's
I'm asking
I know you are, and my answer is, I hate to use the word security, but it seems that the me provides the security. Now there, I think, is a question. Why does the me provide such security, or seem to provide?
Or is it that I am seeking security fundamentally,
Yes, yes.
and the feeling that all my activity must be within the area of my own experience, my own judgment, my own values, my own egotistic movement.
Right, right. But it seems to me you're saying you're going backwards there.
No, sir. Look, sir, let's begin again. Human beings all the world over have built up this illusion that self-centered activity is a self-protective, defensive, aggressive, and one lives in that area, right?
Right, right.
And I know nothing else.
But there must be some appeal or something inherent in us as human beings that this happens. In other words, that it's so quickly that you can take the young child and it happens so quickly. That this self-centered, it's literally like I gave you a shot